Good evening, Kak Arifa. How are you? I hope
Oh,
you're
fine.
having
But
a
Cici,
great time.
I am. But Cici is a mom of four, and
Just like
her
you.
children is older than mine, but she still will look very sexy and pretty. She is a
Thank
lifelong
you.
climate reality leader and very
Thank you.
passionate. One of the
Okay.
leaders who I look up to. But Cici also was a journalist, and now she is working for a as a marketing communication. But Cici, I will.
I'm the head of corporate communication of Kapal Api Global.
Uh, she is in coffee business right now. We've been in discussion for coffee also, Mbak Cici, ya.
Yes.
How we save the planet with a cup of coffee, ya. Okay, Mbak Cici,
Yes.
I think the floor
Thank
is
you.
yours tonight. Please,
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much,
apa?
Arifa. My fellow climate readers, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I hope you're having a good time with us today. And I would like to welcome you to day 2 of International Workshop on Climate Crisis Communication. It was held 3 days since yesterday from 6 to 8 November 2020. We are now airing on Zoom and also on YouTube. So as a background, let me highlight you or let me brief you with a few information that the Paris Agreement adopted by 195 nations at the 21st Conference of the Parties to the UNFCCC in December 2015 is a historic document, the first to unite virtually every nation around their responsibility to take action on the climate crisis. But the commitments from various countries, as outlined in the Paris Agreement, are still far from expectation. So that's why, therefore, the mobilization of stakeholders, including state actors and non-state actors, is important to push for an ambitious and progressive commitment. The Climate Reality Project Indonesia uh, today, starting yesterday, in collaboration with Tamrin School of Climate Change and Sustainability, PILSB for Social Innovation and Movement, Bunga Bay Indonesia, and Progressive Insight Podcasting Channel is organizing an international workshop on climate crisis communication, aiming at providing an overview on of the climate crisis, the national policy agenda, and the role of climate communication and activists in communicating the issue. So since day one, we have quite uh, an amazing speakers, including Ibu Amanda herself, and then also a UN communication representative from UN organization and others. So for today, we will have two sessions. Session 3 is about civic engagement, and session 4, we will be starting later on tonight, is compelling documentaries. So without further ado, I would like to invite a very, very special person for us here, Mr. Farhan Helmi from Tamrin School of Climate Change and Sustainability, that he will present. The topic is civic engagement via en-road simulation and game. We had a conversation earlier this afternoon. Kang Farhan, how are you today?
Yes.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
a short conversation this afternoon, and you were
Yes.
mentioning about the problems of communicating climate change or is not merely or solely on communication, but that there are other factors involved in this. And please, I would like to invite you to enlighten us today with your presentation. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mbak Cici and everyone. Sorry, perhaps this is we have the competing sounds from next the most just next to my my home. But anyway, I'll try. I'll do my best. If still you can hear me. Let me
We can hear
start.
you clearly. Go
Okay.
ahead.
First of all, I would like to thank to all the organizer, participants, and actually I enjoyed the conversation yesterday. So that's why I just would like to continue the conversations, and the topic is actually more on the not really technical issues, but some of the speakers touch on the issues of how we bring all the stakeholder public into the conversations. So let me just give you, this is my CV. So I'm Green Evangelist, a commoner, a podcaster, a member of Climate Reality Leader Corps under Ibu Amanda, as well as I'm part of the initiative that I would like to share with you in the few minutes. So let me start by saying some points. I learned a lot of the yesterday discussion. It seems to me that in most of the conversation, we are really missing some of this point that I would like to share with you. I think the issues of the climate change is very complex. That really we know for the long time. So you cannot simplify by saying this is an issues of communicating the informations to the public, because in case of me, for example, I learned a lot with the climate change, and then almost 2 or 3 decades also try to convince the key stakeholders. But I think the most important in these conversations, how we bring people into the collective decisions. As you know, for example, if we are now we are dealing with the COVID-19, for example, if you have the traditional how we organize the global initiative, you are rely on the UN agencies, local government, and so on. But it seemed COVID gave us some insights that also beside government, there is also other like private NGOs, academia, and so on. And the issues here, how we build the governance based on the not only on the rule of the power, but also how to engage with the non-state actors. So to do that, of course, there should be any trust between not only between the government but with the actors in the non-state actors in the process. So that's why the issues here, how we also communicate a vision and imaginations of the future based on not only a political borders, but also ecological issues at the global, national, subnational, and communities. And then the question is that, do we have any tools for this engagement? That's if you are looking to the science, the science is quite clear. If you refer to 2009, uh, Professor Johan Rockström mentioned that we are surpassing the 3 of 9 planetary boundaries. So, for example, in 2009, the boundary, the threshold is 350 atmospheric carbon dioxide. But at that time, we are already surpassed in 387. The same with the species loss. The suggestion is 10, but at that time is more than 100. Now, 10 years later, it's become increasing the pressure to the climate change. I think the Professor Johan Rockström proposed that really we have a limited time, only 10 years that we can also manage the issues. And of course, the issues of transformation is not only an issue how you temporarily adjust the situation, but also the dialogue on the sustainability, on the inclusiveness, as well as the equity, because the government is limited uh, uh, in dealing with these issues, but you need to engage non-state actors. So that's why we need to have a tools to engage the other actors beside the government. Looking at some of example, for example, this is one of the issues, say on the issues of deforestation. If you can see, this is the study doing by National Council on Climate Change in 2010, 2014. Even for deforestation, we have a different definition and different deforestation rates. So the government, for example, released the rates is quite different with the non-state government. How we build these conversations, how we have a trust on the data we have, and then before you also decide for the policy as well as the what you call the action in the future. Now, if you look at on the target, science tells us this is the temperature is what we have the space is for 1.5 to 2 degrees. And then also at the same time, you also have a global commitment. But if you look at the how you translate that agreement into the reality, you can see the challenge is that not only the issues at the national level, but also at the local level. So that's why the dialogue, the conversation on the issue on these issues is really critical. Now, I have the three initiatives actually. One is so-called the En-ROADS. This is how to build awareness with the stakeholders through the conversation, using the modeling, using some tools that people can have a conversation, not only based on the rhetoric message, but really how you exercise on the issues based on more quantitative measures. Second, also, I involved in the initiative so-called e-factory, how to get access to data, not only limited to the key stakeholders, but also to the all public as well can be also engaged in the sharing the data. So in this case, in my next three slides, I will be explaining some how to say general overview of these two initiatives. One, for example, on the En-ROADS. En-ROADS developed by the MIT, so-called Energy Rapid Overview and Decision Supports, based on the solid science, and also using system dynamics model. So the idea here is just simply if you, for example, put some measures on coal, for example, you just simply slide, and then what is the impact to the temperature? And then also, if you put some of other measures like deforestation and so on, it could be also interesting to see what is the impact. So if our goal is, say, 2.0 degrees Celsius, how this target, this target or this what you call collective decision needed can be also part of the conversation. So I would like to invite you to just simply use these tools, the online tools, that you can have an exercise on that. This is just an example. If you stick to 2.0, this is one of the scenarios. You can see on the coal, for example, on renewable, you just simply slide the one of the 18 measures in this exercise, and then you can see is there is the scenarios meet with the target of 2.0. So you can have a more exercise. You don't need to be an expert on the specific field, but you can have that in easily discuss with the stakeholders. Now, the other initiatives we call is crowd-based geospatial analytics using the AI or artificial intelligence platform we developed with our colleague from India and from Europe to open an access for the public to all the data related to the natural resource and environment. So one of the tools we use is the so-called the platform, the Earth observation platform. That essentially this is like the combination remote sensing, machine learning, geospatial intelligence, and business intelligence. And this is one of the tools that in the conventional in the past, you need to have an expert, and then you need to have also tools of software, and really it was quite expensive. Now using the cloud computing, as well as the access to open access to this data, is really easy for even for the public to use this system, and then can monitor, can discuss with government and others. This is we roll out this 5 months ago, and I think more than 1,200 users already use the system. This is like the marketplace between somebody who has an expertise on the modeling, on the analysis, and then together with any institution who can share the public data into the platform. And this is my slide as a response to yesterday discussions. I think what we discuss now is really not only targeted on the what you call specific issues or age and so on. This is actually we are discussing human rights. We are discussing indigenous people, local communities, as agreed in Paris Agreement 2015. So with that, I just would like to, say thank you to all of you, and please free to send me if you need more details on some of my presentations. At this moment, I'm also in charge for the e-factory, EO factory, how to say, collaboration development, especially for the ASEAN and Timor-Leste country. Thank you, and I offer to you, Mbak Cici.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kang Farhan Helmi, for the simulation and game presentation that enlightened us. I don't know about all of you, but I feel intrigued to discuss some more, but unfortunately we have very limited time. So probably if you have more questions or interested to discuss further on this topic, you might as well contact Kang Farhan. Is that possible, Kang Farhan? It's
please.
possible,
So
right?
I put also the
Yes.
detail on the some of the link. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
So you probably maybe also write down your contact data there in our chat platform. So yeah, so people can get in touch with you to have a further discussion, because this is too interesting. Thank you so much for your time. And then for those who just joined us, my name is Cici Budiman. I'm a climate reality leader trained in Jakarta 2011 and in San Francisco 2012. I will be your moderator for today. So moving further, we would like to invite Bapak Ismail Fahmi from Media Kernels Indonesia that will tonight will present social media impact analytics. Pak Ismail Fahmi?
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much.
The floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much, Bu Cici and Pak Farvan and everybody. Good afternoon. Okay, I will share my screen. I hope it works very well. Okay. Okay, so my name is Ismail Fahmi, PhD. I'm the director of Media Kernels Indonesia, or maybe well known with the name of Drone Breed. It is like a company that work on big data for social media analytics. And it's a little bit about me, and I quite often share my analysis on the social media, on Twitter and Facebook, especially about the politics and many issues. Sometimes with Mata Najwa, and during the election 2019, and also I help West Java governor in analyzing conversation about any issues related to West Java, and also having Kominfo. Okay, so I will be presenting directly about how the conversation about these two keywords, especially climate crisis, this one, and the second one is crisis iklim. So these two words or keywords, one representing the conversation in English. So I thought that it will cover international conversation. And the second one is crisis iklim. So I want to see how Indonesian, especially, whether they aware about this issue and how they talk about this. And actually, I also have the data about climate change. Climate change is, I think the issue is much bigger. So what I have is like this. Since Mr. Farhan contacted me at the 3rd of November, I start to collect the conversation on especially on Twitter. So I got the last 7 days. So if you actually contact me a long time before, I can have more data. So this is free data from Twitter. So what I got is interesting like this. And climate change is a lot. Okay? I think we aware about this, but mostly everybody talk about climate change, mostly. But the climate crisis is special. If it's specific on climate crisis, it's not many people, even internationally, not many conversation about these topics. And even more in Indonesia, crisis iklim. And the trend is like this. And actually, the trend is very low. And as of the 33rd of October, it was increasing. I will show you why it was increasing and where actually this is actually an up. This is abnormal. It's not a normal conversation like this. And we have also this one, just 1 day increase and then low again. And let's see how this data reach people internationally. For the climate crisis, we have 145 million people only. And this is like approach how this conversation on Twitter about climate crisis reach them. And in Indonesia, only 4 million people. So about the crisis iklim. Okay, so we have these two data. And if I continue with this, the climate crisis, the location, the top users, and the hashtags. So we can see here, most of the conversation in the United States and also in Europe, especially in London, here we can see. And Indonesia, using that English word, climate crisis is very small. And we can see London is the biggest city, I think, for this conversation, and then New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and so on. And we can see the country that's very active talking about climate crisis is United States, and then UK, Australia, and so on. And Indonesia, even we cannot see it here. And what they are talking about, if I just take a look at the hashtag, so the hashtag is climate crisis climate, solar, COVID-19. So apparently they try to link this climate crisis with COVID-19, acts on climate, and so on. And so what you can see here, the top influencers is Joe Biden. What does it mean? So it's meant that actually in the United States, we know that that was a presidential election. So there was a political event because of Joe Biden. Talk about this, then we have a lot of increase in the conversation. If Joe Biden didn't talk about this, then maybe the conversation is not high. So that way we can see the peak in the conversation before. And what we expect actually, we want to have the conversations not only by the top leaders like the president or the candidate. We want to have more people who talk about this. So it means that they're closely related. They relate this issue with their self. And if you look at Indonesia, crisis iklim, okay, the top conversation in Jakarta, Yogyakarta, of course, it's big cities, right? But if you look at this, the hashtag is related to Mosi tidak percaya, tolak omnibus law, and then they link to climate crisis. What does it mean? So it's mean this conversation was triggered by the omnibus law. They criticized omnibus law. They try to link the content of the law with the possibility of the climate crisis. And let's take a look who talk about this. We know Greenpeace is the top, and Firdaus Husna, I haven't time to check this, but I know Ike Arif is the journalist from Kompas, I think. And I know him that he often cover conversation or cover news and article research on the climate in Indonesia. So what we can see, also Amnesty Indonesia here. So we can see is that the issue is still like a elitist issue. Right? Only top people, only those really interested on this. We need Greenpeace to talk with this. Otherwise, nobody will talk about crisis iklim in Indonesia. And now, let all the conversation, those people that talk in the Twitter for these two issues, I put all of them into a social network analysis. So it's not here representing an account, and they link to other nodes because they was retweeted. So the bigger the size, so it means that they got more retweet, more influential they are. So for the climate crisis, we can find Joe Biden is the top. See? And then all the followers, they retweet this. And we have all of the other top influencers. Of course, we have Greenpeace International, and we have some others. If we look at this, in my opinion, it is actually international issues. It's international terminology, but not much. In my opinion, is the number of people that talk about this not much. If we remove Joe Biden, okay, because if there is no political event and he didn't talk about this, then it will be, let's say, keep silent. Not much conversation during the last, let's say, 10 days. And even in Indonesia, we can see here, we only have Greenpeace, Vilda, and some few accounts. So I think, in my opinion, we have not really successfully to invite people to talk about this issue, and maybe they will not, they haven't related this issue with themselves. And to see what they are talking about, I try to show you the images or maybe some memes or infographics that mostly shared by those top influencers. And for climate crisis on the left, we can see here Joe Biden, they have more, and then Avaz, United Nations, Jamie Climate, and so on. So we can see from the images. And if you have more time, you can click this. All this data I generate using DroneOperate, and I will share this in Twitter as well. If you have more questions, what actually they are talking about, I can share you. And for the crisis iklim in Indonesia, so this one by Yuji Dotari, still Greenpeace, Amnesty Indonesia. So, and not much. Oh yes, this is me. It was I think a few hours ago, when because people asked me to analyze about Giza, so I refused them. I analyze about climate crisis. Okay, for the last one, conclusion. So my conclusion is like this. If we talk about how the social media conversation or communication about climate crisis, is relatively very low. Yeah, climate crisis relatively low compared to climate change topics, and even if we compare with climate crisis equilibrium Indonesia, even lower. This one is very low. So and maybe in my opinion, if I look at who talk about this, so this issue is still like an elitist issue. Not many people can relate this topic to themselves. Okay, so if those who talk about them because they relate with their job, they relate with their experience. For example, Ike Arif, for example, he was a journalist. He is a journalist. He know actually what's going on with the climate in Indonesia. So he can relate it with himself, but not many people can. So my suggestion is that if we take a look at the social media platform in Indonesia, and I think in internationally as well, we can see quite a lot of platform here. But what I try to highlight here, like a TikTok here. TikTok is increasing. So many people in TikTok, from a younger generation, from teens until moms, they talk about this. And actually, they are not only talking about something funny or entertainment. In my experience, when I analyze on omnibus law issues, they are very active using TikTok in expressing their opinion about the omnibus law. That's one comparison. The hashtag Tolak Omnibus Law, it was almost 2 million shared in Twitter. So it's become like a trending topic internationally, right? But that hashtag in TikTok, we can find so many videos in total. It was viewed until 200 million times. So you can compare how TikTok can influence, can reach more people there. So probably we can consider in using this kind of platform to disseminate the issues and so on. But again, if we need to look at this, who they are mostly a millennial, Z generation, and before them, and those generation will inherit the earth, right, for the future. So we have to use a creative method and try to invite more engagement from young generation. So not only the text, not only the image, and maybe not so hard topics. So we have to think about them. Maybe the best way is to invite them as part of our army. Ask them to make a TikTok. We give them data and ask them, okay, what do you think if we want to communicate this to your generation? So not us, because we cannot relate this topic to their interest. So that was my presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. That was very, very interesting insights. That especially the last one, I find it very interesting that you are suggesting we probably can use TikTok as the new platform. Mas Ismail Fahmi, that is very, very interesting. Okay, thank you so much. Before we go to the next presenter, I probably want to ask a very quick response from Kang Farhan. What do you think about using TikTok as the new platform to communicate climate crisis?
I think
very quick comments.
Yes, that. I think this is very interesting. Was it platform? I think I really agree that if we can also try and then ask the generation who really also part of the conversation. But of course, at the same time, we need to have a more, as I mentioned earlier, a dialogue directly, how to translate the message into collective decision. That sure. Also missing in the process. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our second presenters. We'll still welcome you. If you have questions, just write it down on the chat platform, on the chat channel. And it is also, we are also available on YouTube, and you can also write it down, your question there, and our staff here will help you to write it down on the Zoom chat channel. Well, let's continue and say hello to our next presenter from Indonesian Diaspora United, Pak Didi Yaakob. Are you here with us? Mas Didi?
Yes, yeah.
Yes. Mas
I'm
Didi
here.
will present global networking through social media. Again, we will talk about social media. And now the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon also for those of you who are in the different part of the world, maybe in Europe or in the USA. So first of all, I would like to thank the organizer, the Climate Reality Project Indonesia, Ibu Amanda, Pak Farhan Helmi from Tamrin School, and also the other organizer, Mongabai and PLab, who invite me to be part of this workshop, this conversation. Personally, I'm glad to be part of this conversation because I think it relates to the activities that I've been doing in the last 15 years. Even though maybe the issue is the climate change or climate crisis is still quite invisible for this community, but as we may know that I think that as the crisis is imminent, then there will be the group or the that will be most vulnerable or will be most impacted by the impact of the climate crisis. So let me share my slide. Okay. So to be honest, climate crisis or climate change is not, I'm not very familiar with that. But I have a long and Pak Farhan always my counterpart in bringing this discussion and bring more awareness to me on the impact of the climate crisis. Yeah, just a quick introduction of myself. My name is Triawandi Yaakob, but many people call me using my nickname. I'm currently a program director of Task Force of Migrant Workers of Indonesian Diaspora Network United. I live in Singapore for almost more than 20 years. And I work in the, actually more in, I have a full-time job in the IT field, but I'm also doing a volunteer job in the last, volunteer work basically in the last 15 years on the migrants issues and problems, especially for Indonesian migrants workers. So just a little bit about the organization. So this Indonesian Diaspora Network United was founded in 2012. It is a worldwide and voluntary organization that aims to build a network of Indonesian diaspora to bring more contribution to Indonesia progress, as well as bring benefit also among the Indonesian diaspora throughout the world. So specifically on Task Force on Migrants Worker, because as we know, majority of Indonesian diaspora abroad are migrants workers. So we see the need to also to set up this task force to link up and engage Indonesian migrant workers and facilitating collaboration and conversation among different stakeholders between state and non-state actors on issues and challenges faced by migrants. Just a bit of statistic, there are 9 million migrant workers working in many parts of the world, and more than 50% are undocumented. And as per the World Bank data in 2017, and more than 3 million currently work in Malaysia, and 2 million of them are undocumented. So this is really a huge issues. There are a lot of the challenges, and as I mentioned, we are doing it on a voluntary basis. So of course, our contribution or our involvement on this issue are not as intense as other CSO or NGOs or those organizations that are specifically working on this or promoting these issues and problems. But of course, with our limited capacity or constraint that we are facing, I think in my personal capacity, as well as under my capacity as part of the diaspora, actually we also bring actually we manage at least in the last 6-7 years, bring more networking among the Indonesian migrant workers. Okay, what is probably this is a bit different from the previous two presentation for sure, because I bring a different maybe different views, different perspective, different stakeholders, definitely, that, as I mentioned, is very much impacted by the climate crisis. As we know, it is imminent, and it is happening already, and they are the ones that are really impacted by this climate crisis. So I would like to just to elaborate the drivers of migration a little bit. So there are actually the migration is caused by displacement, and there are three kind of displacement. Displacement because of conflicts, like such as violence or political conflict or civil war. That and also there is a displacement because of the development. That because of the large scales project, infrastructure project, that actually maybe in the long term bring benefits to the people, but in the short term may actually cause issues, because you sometimes dismantle people from their livelihood, and they are left without any means to actually to find or to look for a better job. So, and the other the last one is the displacement because of disaster, like floods, landslide, environmental change, or climate crisis. So usually when displacement occurs among these communities, among these actually the lower income group of our Indonesian population, I think the first maybe reaction is to to do internal migration. Like let's say if you are affected because of the infrastructure project, probably they may go to the city to look for job, maybe live in the slum area, and then look for a job maybe in the factories. Or if, let's say, because of disaster, try to find a nearby area to try to settle down to look for job. But if, let's say, there are not a lot of opportunities for them to sustain their living, then I think working abroad would be one of the alternative available for them. So there is one interesting also development within the UN initiative, the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly, and Regular Migration, or GCM, actually has included a natural disaster and climate change as a driver of contemporary migration in 2018. I think this is a good interesting development that I think will bring more engagement and conversation on this topic. And I would like to share my reflection because, as I mentioned, these issues on climate crisis is still invisible. I would say it's not very much in the conversation or engagement among the stakeholders in the migrant issues and problem. I think that the main issues, I think that very much very much discussed among the stakeholder is the migration because of the development or because of the poverty that brings maybe move people because of the development to below the poverty line. So I would like to bring my reflection in my involvement on these issues in the and under my capacity in the diaspora. Actually, what I learned, the first thing that I learned, actually we should treat migrant as the most important actor. Because I think there are also today more and more migrants that come forward and they don't want others to become to represent them, to become their speaker. What they want to be the speaker of their own cause in every engagement and conversation. And then, as we also know, they are actually the expert of their own life and through their experience, through the trafficking, through the overcharging, through the treatment, not as the human beings, but more probably as slave or as a commodity. And actually, they are also the expert in these practices. They are not merely data for academic or policymakers, but they also generate their community initiated information. They are also actually studies their own issues and problems, and they also exercise or doing services to their communities. And this information actually is a precious data in order to understand the conversation among them and maybe to bring more insight on the issues and problems that they are facing. And the second one is in the next slide. Actually, what is important also that in this engagement or conversation, as we need to involve the migrants organization. What I mean by migrant organization actually is the organization at the grassroots level with a strong network. Because if we have a strong organization at the grassroots level, the effective engagement will happen basically. As we learned from the recent COVID-19 pandemic in Malaysia, actually because of the huge issues, the huge problem, there are a lot of people, there are a lot of migrants that are undocumented and they lost the job. Because of they lost the job, they don't have money because they work on the daily basis. The salary is paid on the daily basis. They lost the job. They lost maybe the house that they are renting, and also they even cannot buy their own food. Definitely the Indonesian embassy at the time, and there are also very minimum support from the Malaysian government, and the Indonesian embassy was very overwhelmed by these issues. But thanks to the grassroots organization, actually with their help, the government was able to reach out more and more people to bring more help, to bring foods and assistance that are required. And the other thing that are also important based on my reflection is actually link up with other actors. I'm glad yesterday to hear Leonard when he mentioned about the involvement of Greenpeace on the omnibus law, the job creation law that was just enacted, I think last month. Because I think there are also more and more awareness among the migrant communities that they need to bring or build collaboration with other actors in home and in the host and home country. this collaboration or probably solidarity, because I think migrant issues is not a single cause issues. Migrant issues are more wider issues that there are actually migrant as just one of the vulnerable group that are impacted by crisis, by ecological destruction, by climate change. So I think I see this awareness is there, but at the same time, actually the question or the discussion or the conversation regarding the climate crisis, I think it need to be more promoted. Actually, with the link up with others, with the enhance also their capacity to respond to crisis and to develop spaces for social and policy advocacy, and to place migration as a common concern of other actors or stakeholders. Just the last slide. What I would like to share is a role of the diaspora as an enabler. Actually, diaspora may be considered or can be considered as the advocates of migrant issues and problems. They facilitate access to wider engagement and with the different stakeholders, with CSOs, with academics, with also policymakers. The diaspora can promote migrant-centric engagement and conversation, not always based on state-centric that only enforce laws, but also we have to base the engagement and conversation on the right-based approach. And the other interesting, I think similarly for climate crisis, I think from these three characteristics that actually the migrants should be the center of the conversation and engagement, and they have to take the ownership of these climate crisis issues, and they have to build their strong grassroots with a good network with the other stakeholders, and they need to also link up with others to fight for similar causes. What I see also moving forward, what we can contribute as Indonesian diaspora, we can bring more important role as enabler to facilitate the capacity building, to develop a better understanding of climate crisis and its serious impact among migrants, and also to promote more discourses on climate crisis, as well as contribute to achieve of SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, number 8, decent work and economic growth. I think that's all. I think I end this presentation, and thank you very much. And I offer to the moderator.
I'm still muted. Thank you so much, Pak Didi Yaakob from Indonesian Diaspora United, that already present global networking through social media. Just a quick question for you, Pak Didi Yaakob. According to your opinion, for the migrant worker in Singapore and in Malaysia, how would they actually understand or involved in this climate crisis issues? I have an experience when I was studying in Taiwan, that because in Taiwan the issue of environmental issue, climate change, climate crisis has been a daily conversation. So the migrant worker in Taiwan is somehow more familiar with the issues. How do you see that?
Yes, I think the same happens also in Singapore. I'm not very sure about Malaysia, because I think these issues has gained more, of course, more interest or attention among the citizens, the state actor and non-state actors, definitely. And the government is very serious in tackling this issue. They look at the, let's say, the slow onset of the rise of the sea level in 2050 that will impact also Singapore. And also they promote also more awareness to educate people about this serious impact of the climate crisis. I think in practical way, there are also a lot of, there are already some initiative that, let's say, to educate people, to promote the use to green energy, to promote more efficiency solution for maybe for plastic bag, all these things. And I think because they live in the they live with more Indonesian migrant workers, majority are domestic workers. I think this awareness also they I mean they are not quite new to this awareness, but how they link their migration to this issue, I think is still something that need to be more discussed to promote this awareness among them.
Okay, thank you so much, Pak Didi Yaakob. And then for everyone, ladies and gentlemen, who join our 3 days event this evening, welcome and join us. We are now going to move further to our last presenter in the first session. I would like to welcome my fellow climate leaders, Mbak Nana Firman, all the way from USA. Mbak Nana Firman, Green Faith USA, selamat. It should be good morning, right?
Yes,
Nana?
it's
what time is it
good
now?
morning. 5:30 in the morning.
5:30 in the morning. Okay, so I will give.
Sorry, it's 4:30 actually, not 5:30.
4:30. Okay, just in time for the salat subuh. Okay, Mbak Nana, please, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Assalamualaikum. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer, Ibu Amanda and Pak Farhan, for inviting me to this important conversation. And thank you, Mbak Cici, to be the moderator of this session. So I think I'm going to share my own slides. I'm just following like other speakers to share my own. All right.
Go ahead, Ma.
Okay. All right. Okay. So earlier this year, Green Faith was just embarking on an ambitious global organizing campaign of millions of people of faith to bring them together in what we call circles of care and resilience locally to build relationships, community, and power to fight climate crisis. Then COVID-19 happened. So we decided that we need to accelerate our work, although not currently in people's congregation or houses of worship or around kitchen tables, but through online and other creative ways. So since the onset of the pandemic, we've been organizing daily faith community calls for care and resilience, bringing people of faith together and religious leaders to share spiritual reflections and religious teaching, to mourn and to grieve in this super stressed time, and to engage in action to protect each other. We also starting our local circles where small groups of people of faith meet online regularly, organizing their loved ones, their friends, congregation, and their own communities for care and resilience and for spiritual respite and local action. It is very important to have a moment of respite and solace during with each other, and then also to engage in constructive and meaningful actions. So we have also been supporting religious leaders with online tools, as many of them are not familiar actually. And so they connect with their congregation and also create their own circle of cares and resilience. So we also hosted a global interfaith call for care and resilience that brought together powerful groups of religious and spiritual leaders to make the connection between our religious traditions, COVID-19, and climate crisis. We may speak different languages and belong to diverse faith communities, but we are united by the fundamental belief that all people, all living things, and the earth are sacred. And it also unites us to see clearly how the earth is in danger and humanity is in danger. Even though these problems have social, political, and ecological symptoms, we recognize that we are also in a spiritual crisis. And that is why we come together and we share a space for dialogue, to inspire, to teach, to motivate, to support, and just to challenge each other. So the crisis, this climate crisis, represent a grave threat to humanity, to the global environment, and also to the most vulnerable among us and the future generations. Our religious and spiritual tradition call us to care for each other and for the earth. However, the scientific consensus is powerful and direct. Without incredible, ambitious, and rapid action, we will face brutal environmental disruption that will cost millions of lives, displace hundreds of millions from their homes, impoverish countless communities, and badly degrade our ecosystem that support life. So the most vulnerable among us will suffer the worst, despite having contributed the least to the problem. As people of faith, we believe that climate change is not merely an environmental problem, but it is a moral and ethical issue and has already affected many vulnerable communities globally. So as people of faith, each of our religious tradition demand us to care for the most vulnerable among us. And we know that at the moment, during the global pandemic, we must turn towards each other. All our faiths teach us so. And so we have been coming together more urgently than ever to prepare us for not just for what is happening today, but what is to come as the climate crisis disruption intensifies. So during the last few months, we have reflected on how a global pandemic can change the world in ways that we had not imagined possible just even a year ago. And we have had chances to witness, to reflect, and to share, and to respond. So what can we do during this isolation? A lot of, like people of community of faith ask. First, we can live the change with climate in mind. Exercise our own rights as a consumer, for example. We can consume more carefully and consciously, giving preference to companies that act responsibly. Or we can support organizations that hold companies to account for environmental practices. Maybe we can eat less meat or conserve our energy at home, even though most likely we are spending more time at home. And of course, here in the US, people are driving less and not flying. So let's keep doing this even when the pandemic eventually fades away, which actually reminds me to the verse in the Holy Quran where God told us to walk gently on earth, meaning that not to harm and not to degrade the earth while we live on it, but instead keeping the ecological balance. And secondly, we can start a climate conversation. Solving climate change requires us to all work together. We cannot do it without finding common ground with those who may not share our perspective. And people trust their families, their loved ones, their friends, their peers more than they trust the experts, most likely. So you can talk to your own folks about climate change in the way that other people cannot. You are more likely to open people's mind, your own people, like your families and your loved ones. So just be authentic, be yourself. Of course, you can use data and graphics to reach out people's heads, but most importantly, you must touch their heart first. Start from something that are dear to them, but not only the heart and the head, but also reach out and hold people's hands in taking actions together. So just remember the heart, the head, and the hands. I call it 3H to start where you at, and small changes can make difference. That is the key to move forward on climate solutions. So talk to your own people. And lastly, vote your values. So if you have election, like in the US, we just have an election. So vote for leaders at all levels of government who take climate change seriously. They should commit to set science-based targets to reduce harmful carbon emission. And also they should show you the clear plans how to reach those targets and how to shift to a clean energy economy. If they don't have it or it's not available, then demand it from your candidates and community. So we see that climate crisis as a global problem, which requires a global solution. And we clearly see that together we are stronger than working separately. So I also want to mention that Green Faith has been hosting a dialogue between people, leaders, and faith-based organization representing 14 countries for meeting for more than a year now, and decided to form this new organization called Green Faith International Network. The goal of this network is to amplify our collective-based voices, and also we will be working with grassroots organization, and our focus is action in favor of climate and environmental justice. It is inclusive and respectful, especially towards indigenous peoples and traditional communities and the frontlines communities who are suffering head-on the impacts of climate change. And this month, we will be sharing our call for the first collective action, which is the publication of an international multi-faith declaration called Sacred People, Sacred Earth. This declaration will be signed by high-level faith and spiritual leaders from around the globe, and also people of faith like you and me and many others. And we will be releasing the declaration during our TEDx Green Faith on November 18th, which is like 10 days from now, which we will be broadcasted virtually in 6 different region time zone with 3 different languages around the globe. So I would like to invite you to join, and we will also invite people to take photos, short videos, and make them public through our social media. So in closing, this earth is a gift from our creator that bestowed to the humankind, but we would fail in keeping such trust if we do not treat these wonderful resources justly and sustainably. And if we cause destruction in a way that would deny future generation its benefits, what would the future generation say of us who leaves them a degraded planet as our legacy? Our youth have spoken that they will not forgive us if we are to fail them. And most importantly, how will then we face our creator? We need visionary policy solutions that will address the critical issue of our time for all people and resonate at the heart of our religious and spiritual tradition of love, justice, compassion, and peace. Together, we're going to be stronger, and we can support each other and share resources, as well as training other leaders and communities. Everyone deserves a happy life, having clean water, fresh air, healthy food, and bright future for their children and grandchildren. The change is coming whether we like it or not. Thank you and stay healthy.
Thank you so much, Mbak Nana. We couldn't wait to participate in your event. Quick question from me to you. Since you are from Indonesia and now you are residing in the USA, based on your own experience, if you were to give us one simple tips, how would you suggest we here in Indonesia to address the issue, to communicate about climate crisis?
I think that the communication that we haven't really addressed closely is the heart, touching the heart.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like we use a lot of data, but then like that's data is good, like I said, the head, but the head is not going to move people to do actions. But if you touch their heart, that's usually what interests them. And the heart is the way you touch people's heart is from something that dear to them. So I work with the faith community. So like faith is what drives their lives. So then we see we look on the faith teachings, the traditions, what is the message there, and then we bring that to them, remind them, and invite them on that call. So that's how we touch the hearts of the people, and that's how they get interested and wanted to learn more. That's how we touch the head, and then want to do something, and using their hands to do something.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, we have just the song for that. Sentuhlah dia di hatinya, dia akan jadi milikmu selamanya. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mbak Nana. And I think that will conclude all 4 presenters on the first session, or session 3, civic engagement, and that will leave us, we have about 11 minutes for Q&A. Thank you so much, Mbak Nana. Now we can move to Q&A session. For those who has questions, you can raise hand, or you can write down your question in the chat feature here. It seems like we already have one question here. I can read it for you. It's from Dino Fitriza to Mas Ismail Fahmi. The question is, thank you for the presentation and the data. It's very interesting to see how people speak about climate crisis and krisis iklim in Bahasa Indonesia. Can you give us more insight about sentiment or emotion of climate crisis conversation in social media? Is it more people believe positive sentiment, or more people deny and become climate deniers, negative sentiment? Mas Ismail Fahmi.
Okay, thank you, Mas Dino, Mbak Cici. Okay, after getting the question, I quickly add one page. So this one's emotion analysis on the climate crisis. I only able to get this data for the climate crisis conversation. For the crisis iklim is not yet, the conversation is not enough. So what I got is this one. So basically this analysis is trying to classify each of the tweets or conversation according to these 8 emotion: joy, trust, and everything like this. And what I got is the emotion is dominated by trust issue. Trust here means trust doesn't mean I believe, but it can be distrust. So it can be trust or distrust. And then how we analyze this, and then I take a look at the tweets, the conversation that got a lot of retweets. So it's been that this conversation are mostly loved by many people. And it is, for example, what I can see is that for the first one, there is a kind of distrust toward leaders like Trump. So if we have leaders like Trump, we will not believe that the climate crisis will be handled very well, for example, like that. And there's also some belief that now is the time that the government should take bold action about the climate crisis. So maybe this is very good news for Mbak Nana, that people start to support the idea that they have to push the government. Okay? And there's also belief that there are some natural disasters like typhoon, for example, and then they believe the cause is the climate crisis. So this is something interesting, but which means that people try to relate that there's climate crisis and there's a disaster, natural disaster. Then natural disaster probably very close to them. And if we can find something like this, for example, in Indonesia, maybe El Nino, maybe the, for example, now we quite often to hear about flooding in Indonesia. But maybe people didn't think about climate crisis. What they think probably is about there's so many trees were cut and so many hill become houses and something like that. And but they didn't think it is a climate crisis. They think about maybe a corruption or the government. But actually there's a link. If we can link this, will be very good. Yeah. What we can find here is that this is an opinion or emotion people in maybe in the United States of, I think it's United States because related to the climate crisis. And the last one is that there's some belief that there will be a brighter tomorrow. So I think very good for Mbak Nana as well. And I don't know, maybe this guy is also following your presentation or the idea that we can do something better for the future. So this is all that I can get. And usually I analyze also using the sentiment, whether it is positive or negative, but it takes time. Actually, the machine learning also will give me the data, but I never use directly from the machine learning. And I need time to manually just check from the top, let's say 200 most retweeted expression, whether it is correct or not, the analysis from the machine. Otherwise, I will not use that. So at this moment, I cannot provide the data. Okay, that's all for me.
Interesting, very interesting. Yeah, I wish we have more time to analyze all that is happening, the conversation on social media. Yeah, Ismail, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. And okay, someone just asked me, send me message through WhatsApp. The question is, wait a minute. The question is for Pak Didi Yaakob. Okay. So the question is, according to your experience in Singapore or maybe also in other country concerning the migrant worker, how do you think we can engage the migrant worker to be the frontliner to do a conversation on this climate crisis or climate change after they're coming back home to Indonesia? Because probably when they're working in a particular country, they already adapt some lifestyle that are beneficial or that are related in dealing with climate crisis. And for that, when they're coming back home to Indonesia, there will be a very good living examples on how we actually need to address the issue.
Yeah, I would like to answer this into development, the recent development on the conversation on this topic among the migrants. As I mentioned, but as of today, this is not really invisible. It is invisible for the time being, the discourse on the climate crisis among the Indonesian migrant workers. But among the international migrants organization, I think this is not something new. I think there have been a lot of discussion on this. But now is the question is how they can spread this information to from this at the organization at the global level to the organization at the national level. I think this is one of the maybe challenges, one of the maybe immediate action that they need to do in order to bring more awareness, bring more education on this topic. And secondly, yeah, I think this is interesting point because as I mentioned, for those that migrant workers that live in the developed world like Korea, South Korea, or Hong Kong, or Taiwan, or Singapore, I think maybe either they are aware or not, but in certain ways, they have already practiced this practice in the practical way. Some example of how they comply or how they tackle the migrant issues, the climate issues. I think there are some already practical. They have already experienced from their practical or day-to-day life, because from maybe from the household that they work, or maybe from the community, they learn from the community, or from the maybe campaign done by the government. Yeah, I really agree that I think this information or this practice they can bring to Indonesia when they return for good, and then to also to spread the same thing, or even they can become they can be active, play an important role in promoting this among the communities, among their own communities in Indonesia.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. That is very informative for us here, and hopefully we can actually do something about it in the near future. Right. Another question would be for Mbak Nana. Mbak Nana, we see a lot from your slides just now that you were working a lot with a cross-faith organization. How would you see that can be applied in Indonesia? As we see that a couple of years back, we see, in my opinion, we see a lot of setbacks in the relationship between interfaith organization here due to political issue.
Yeah, thank you. So the one that I mentioned on my talk just now, the 14 countries that has been having this dialogue, one of them is Indonesia. So Indonesia is going to be a part of this global collaboration, the network, and then hopefully through that we will bring this also, like our experience, like work together in the interfaith and multi-faith collaboration. And also part of Green Faith, we also have another program which is called a fellowship program, where either faith leaders or lay people, just like faith communities, if they have inclination towards like environmental issue or climate issue, they can apply to that program. And the program is about a year, so 11 months.
Okay.
And where they will work together. There's going to be project together. And this year, for 2021, we just closed our application. We're going to have like the first like large global fellowship program. So we already have like a lot. I mean, like I've seen the application for Indonesia, quite a number of people. Okay. So hopefully they're going to be like, our kind of seedling, to start this in Indonesia as well. Inshallah.
Okay. Yeah. Inshallah. Yeah, it breaks my heart to see all the setbacks this couple of years. Thank you so much, Mbak Nana. I would like to go back to we still have maybe around 2 minutes before we have our break. And before we move to session 4, I would like to go back to Kang Farhan. It's not a question for you. It's probably I would like you to not a closing remark, but maybe make some comments of what we of the conversation of the presentation that we had in this first session.
Yes, thank you, Machichi. It seems to me there is what you call two level. We need to rethink what is as an activist, as what you call as the influencers, I should call.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, thanks to Pa Fahmi that already gave us, as well as Banana, to give up how to say insights on what is happening between the real grassroots and in the social media citizen. Secondly, what I would like to promote in my case is to build many champions at the grassroots level, because sometimes you can discussing many issues at the same time, as the Mas Fahmi shared with us. So in my case, in these two tools, one on the policy exercise using En-ROADS, and also the second with the what you call with the e-factory, we already organized 2 meetings with the big audience. One is with one of the biggest environmental, how to say, group like the WALHI. We organized 2 weeks ago that 200 participants, and not only from NGOs, but from the local government and so on. How to get access to the, say, free data or public data. So we will be continuing that target. Continuing that exercise. And last week is actually with BPPT and the Society for Remote Sensing. The participant is around 200, nearly 200 participants in the Zoom and Facebook, and also came from different line ministries. And still in my plan is of course the targeted to K-12 students as well as the teachers. This is very, very important. We will be working with the what you call the Asosiasi Guru, the teacher associations, as well as the University of Education University, so University of Education Indonesia. Then lastly, with the we work closely with the pesantren, so the green pesantren, especially in the West Java. But again, how to train these leaders and then work on the grassroots level and more, how to say, engaging, for example. This is like multi-level marketing. You need to build a champions like Banana. If we have more Banana in Indonesia, this is really, I mean, how to say, give a big change for Indonesia.
Can accelerate the whole process, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kang Farhan. Now I think it's a wrap for session 3, civic engagement. On behalf of Climate Reality Project and Tamrin School of Climate Change and Sustainability, we would like to say thank you, send our gratitude to Kang Farhan Helmi from Tamrin School of Climate Change and Sustainability, and Kang Fahmi, Ismail Fahmi. Maybe further we can talk more about strategy on TikTok. Pak Ismail Fahmi is from Media Kernels Indonesia, and Pak Didi Yaakob from Indonesian Diaspora United, and also the last but not the least, Mbak Nana Firman from Green Faith USA. So before we end the session and go to our break, let's have a group picture. This is very important part of every webinar. So let's take the picture. Maybe someone can help me to to do the snap? Kak Dino will help us.
I'm using smartphone, Mbak Cici.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Losing connection, internet connection.
Losing internet connection.
I'll do it.
Oke, silakan Ibu.
2 more.
2 more.
Done.
Okay, thank you so much. The photographer is very special. Thank you so much, Ibu Amanda. And that's a wrap. We hate to see you go, so stay around. We will have bio break for 3 minutes. Hang out and see you again to enjoy session 4. We'll see you in 3 minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Nana.
Thank you. Sama-sama.
Ya, Mbak Nana.
Bye.
Still muted. Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome you to our 3 days international workshop on climate crisis communication. From 6 to 8 November 2020, we were airing on Zoom platform and YouTube. My name is Cici Bernardus, and I will be your moderator for the second session tonight. On the menu, we have, on the menu, we have 4 different topics, very interesting one. Voices and Faces of Injustice, Scientific Facts to Short Movies, and Documenting Extreme Nature. And then the last one will be a very special presentation, Impact-Driven Documentaries and Campaign. The session 4 will be presented in both English and Bahasa Indonesia. And I would like to start with our first presenters, Bapak Dandi Laksono from Watchdog Production. Are you with us, Pak Dandi Laksono?
Oh, actually it's Rere, Regina Safri.
Oh, Rere. Sorry. Okay. Mbak Regina Safri, are you with us?
Halo Mbak Cici.
Halo, selamat malam Rere.
Selamat malam.
Ya, semoga sehat ya Rere.
Sehat, alhamdulillah.
Yes. Oke.
Bahasa Indonesia aja ya Mbak Cici.
Yes, ya, nanti pakai bahasa Indonesia. Rere will present in bahasa Indonesia and I will do a quick translation recap after her presentation. Nanti saya terjemahkan ya, Rere. Okay, the floor is yours.
Oke, thank you Mbak. Selamat malam semua. Saya share screen dulu sebentar. Oke. Apakah sudah terlihat Mbak Cici?
Sudah.
Ya, oke. Selamat malam. Nama saya Regina Safri. Kebetulan saya jurnalis, fotografer, dan penulis buku, dan pegiat konservasi. Full screen dulu aja ya. Oke.
Oke. Kelihatannya gambarnya seru-seru nih.
Ya, jadi saya mencoba menggunakan medium fotografi untuk campaign kepada masyarakat, terutama kaum milenial. Jadi saya menggunakan medium fotografi supaya mudah mudah ditangkap, mudah dimengerti begitu. Ini adalah gambar hutan kita. Ini di Sumatera, di Lampung, sekitar Lampung. Idealnya seperti ini, namun yang seperti kita tahu bahwa sisa hutan kita semakin sedikit dari tahun ke tahun. Ini data saya ambil dari internet. Dari tahun ke tahun semakin sedikit hutan Indonesia. Karena itu saya tergerak untuk membuat suatu proyek pribadi yang akhirnya menjadi sebuah buku dan pameran foto.
Okay.
Ini adalah kebakaran hutan di Riau. Saya ambil menggunakan helikopter. Pada saat itu saya mengikuti petugas pemadam kebakaran. Ini memadamkan kebakaran dari heli. Cukup pusing untuk mengambil gambarnya karena dalam waktu 5 jam kita tidak boleh turun dan helikopter melakukan beberapa manuver untuk mengambil air di sungai untuk memadamkan kebakaran. Ini saya ambil di Riau juga karena ternyata di Sumatera Riau cukup parah kondisi hutannya, sepenglihat saya, sepengalaman saya gitu. Dan ini foto kebakaran hutan, sangat sulit memotret kebakaran hutan karena mata pasti pedas, hidung berair dan sesak nafas. Tapi saya berusaha untuk mendapatkan gambar. seperti ini.
Mbak Rere, maaf ini masih di slide pertama atau sudah bergerak ya? Karena di layar saya yang terlihat masih slide pertama.
Oh, udah bergerak. Oh ya?
Ya.
Terus, sorry.
Nggak tahu yang lain.
Yang lain gimana?
Ya, masih
Ya, masih slide 1.
Masih slide 1, ya.
Oh,
ya.
atau aku
mesti klik, Mbak Rere mungkin mesti klik dulu enable editing.
Wait Mbak. Oke. Saya ulang dulu ya.
Ya.
Sorry.
So while she's working on the slides, I would like to do a short recap that Rere is a climate activist, an environmental activist. She's also a journalist and a photographer who worked on his personal project in capturing all interesting pictures all over Indonesia. Okay. So this is about forest firefighting in Riau. Yeah, now we can see the picture.
Tapi atau aku stop share, boleh minta tolong dari panitia, Mbak Cici?
Boleh. Sebentar.
Oke, saya coba ya. Mau masuk yang slides yang mana, Rere? Because there are quite
boleh dari awal.
Oke.
Ibu.
Oke. Bentar ya.
Ya, sepertinya koneksi internet saya memang agak. Di sini hujan sangat.
Oh, oke.
Okay, just let me know.
Lagi di Medan.
Just let me know. Nah, ini tadi. Ini terus maju.
Oke.
This is in Lampung, right?
Ya.
Yeah.
Iya, ini di Lampung tadi. Oke, next. Ini kondisi ideal, namun boleh next, Ibu. Ya, ini ya tadi kondisi. Boleh back sebentar, Mbak. Ibu Amanda ya ini ya yang nge-share ya.
Iya, Ibu Amanda yang share.
Maaf ngerepotin. Ya, ini sisa hutan kita. Maka berdasarkan data ini saya melakukan proyek pribadi itu tadi. Ya, next Bu Amanda.
Oke.
Ini kebakaran hutan. Next Bu Amanda. Di mana sepanjang penglihatan semua hanya asap dan api. Hutan benar-benar dari helikopter benar-benar terlihat hangus, habis terbakar, dan sangat menyedihkan kondisinya. Next. Oke, ini kondisi kebakaran dari bawah. Ya, karena agak susah sebenarnya untuk ambil foto di bawah karena asap, mata berair, hidung berair, pedih, sesak nafas. Jadi saya tidak bisa terlalu lama di kondisi seperti ini, makanya nggak terlalu lama, lalu saya segera pergi gitu karena terutama buat yang punya asma pasti nggak kuat untuk berhadapan dengan kondisi kayak gini. Kita yang sehat aja tidak, apalagi warga tinggal di situ gitu kan. Next. Ini foto kebakaran juga. Next, Ibu. Ini kondisi, sedangkan ini di Kalimantan, orangutan Kalimantan yang kondisi habitatnya juga sudah hancur, sudah rusak, dan sebenarnya orangutan Kalimantan itu, orangutan itu sebenarnya dia jarang turun ke bawah karena dia biasa di atas kan, di pepohonan. Hanya kalau Kalimantan masih ada sesekali dia turun, kalau yang Sumatera dia sama sekali nggak turun.
Tidak turun, iya.
Iya, karena ada predator.
Bedanya itu ya?
Iya.
Selain warna bulunya, lebih terang.
Betul. Dan sekarang kita punya orangutan baru, jenis baru, sekitar 2017 kita sudah menemukan orangutan jenis baru di Tapanuli, Mbak Cici. Dia letaknya di Sumatera Utara, namun perbedaannya adalah di gen, tapi dia lebih mendekat sama orangutan Kalimantan, walaupun dia letaknya di Sumatera.
Di Tapanuli.
Ya.
Interesting.
Oke, next, Ibu. sangat menyedihkan melihat kondisi seperti
Breaks my
ini di mana
heart.
hutan sudah hancur, orang hutannya kondisi sangat memprihatinkan, perburuan tinggi, peralihan konversi hutan menjadi perkebunan juga sangat tinggi, beli bayi orang hutan juga sangat tinggi, itu mengakibatkan mereka semakin mendekat dengan punah. Next, Ibu.
Oh.
So cute.
Ini bayi-bayi.
Ini di mana ini, Mbak Rere?
Ini di tempat konservasi di Kalimantan, Mbak Cici. Jadi dia karena mostly kalau orang yang bunuh yang ngejual anaknya, pasti dia akan membunuh orang tua ibunya gitu kan. Jadi makanya anak-anak ini pasti induknya mati, sudah dipastikan, karena usia 0 sampai 7 tahun dia pasti nempel sama induknya seperti foto yang di awal tadi. Jadi ketika pemburu ingin menjual bayi orang hutan ke luar negeri atau di dalam negeri, mereka pasti harus membunuh induknya, karena induknya akan sekuat tenaga melindungi anaknya gitu. Next.
Ya ampun.
Sangat menyedihkan.
Oh.
Iya, kita memiliki kemiripan DNA. Iya, dengan manusia dengan orang hutan memiliki kemiripan DNA. Setahu saya yang membedakan adalah pita suara dan ukuran otak antara manusia dengan orang hutan. Sisanya hampir sama. Apa yang dirasakan, karakter dan lain-lain seperti itu. Next, Ibu.
Pakai pampers.
Seperti yang sudah saya sebutkan tadi kan, ada perburuan, ada konflik dengan manusia, ada banyak alasan-alasan lain yang mengakibatkan orang hutan semakin punah. Dan mereka kan adalah anugerah terbesar lah, anugerah besar buat kita gitu kan, karena dengan adanya orang hutan dia menjaga hutan kita gitu. Next, Ibu.
Oh.
Ya, dan perilakunya sama seperti seorang ibu kepada anak gitu, maksudnya manusia gitu kan, sama induk kepada anaknya. Ini usia dia baru seminggu lahir, terus ibu tidak pernah melepaskan anaknya dan selalu menciumi, memeluknya gitu. Nah, jika melihat manusia dia pasti akan segera melindungi anaknya gitu kan. Next. Ini Kalimantan, ini jantan karena memiliki jipet namanya. Kalau cowok jantan biasanya ada jipetnya lebar dan itu mempengaruhi ke kenyaringan suara, dan kenyaringan suara itu mempengaruhi area kekuasaan dia gitu. Jadi di mana suaranya masih bisa terjangkau berarti itu area kekuasaannya dia, kurang lebih. Next, Ibu. Seperti ini, itu bayi pasti nempel sama induknya, usia 0 sampai 7 tahun. Dan foto ini saya ikuti, ternyata itu di mulutnya ada jeruk, dan ternyata si induk ini mencari posisi yang enak, yang pas, lalu dia kupas buah tersebut ke anaknya seperti layaknya manusia ngupasin. Jadi nggak ditelan bulat-bulat gitu ya, dikupasin seperti itu. Next, Ibu.
Oh, what happened?
Ya, ini di tempat konservasi. Jadi saya ada yang di alam juga, saya juga ngambil yang di tempat konservasi orang hutan. Ini lagi sakit, lagi demam, dan dia perlu perawatan khusus dari dokter hewan di situ. Dan biasanya kondisi kesehatannya akan diupdate per 6 bulan sekali, begitu pula manusia. Per 6 bulan sekali kita harus cek darah, cek urin, concern supaya kita tidak saling menularkan satu sama lain.
Ini pergi ke posyandu ya, cek dia ya. Untuk memantau tumbuh kembangnya. Oke.
Ini
elephant.
Ya, ini gajah Sumatera, dia baru lahir semingguan juga.
Oh, loh, gede amat.
Iya, Saya pernah ngelihat ibu, dia baru lahir, saya telat setengah jam, dan dia udah bisa jalan, langsung
Bisa
bisa jalan.
berdiri langsung ya.
Ya, next ibu. Gajah kita juga ini pemasangan
kasih GPS ya.
Kita waktu itu masuk hutan mencari apa gajah yang liar supaya dipasang GPS supaya bisa kita track jalannya dia gitu kan, supaya kita bisa pantau, karena ditakutkan dia keluar ketemu masyarakat dan terjadi konflik gitu. Dan ini kita temui, aku masuk hutan dari jam 5 subuh baru dapet jam 1 siang dapat gajah liar ini. Dan tembak bius, kita pasang GPS dan lalu kita tinggal seperti itu. Sebelumnya kita juga di briefing bagaimana jika kita dikejar gajah, kita juga dilatih juga. Karena namanya juga di hutan kan. Next Ibu.
Ini next nih ya.
Waikambas
Ya.
2018. Oke. Hai Erin.
Ini Erin, kisahnya sangat menyedihkan, Mbak Cici, Ibu Amanda dan semua, karena dia kena ini belalainya terangnya itu dia kena trap dari baja yang dilakukan oleh para poachers ya, pemburu gitu.
Poachers ya.
Dan dia buntung, dia hampir sekarat, tapi untungnya ditemui ketemu gitu oleh para ranger di Waikambas. Akhirnya dioperasi, dipotong, dia hidup, kesulitan untuk mengambil sesuatu. Jadi otaknya ada di belalainya kan. Jadi sangat kesulitan. Beberapa kali saya bikin acara donasi untuk kayak beli pisang atau tebu atau makanan tambahan karena
jadi harus dikasih makan ya, nggak bisa makan sendiri ya.
Harus disuapin. Apalagi semakin badannya besar, semakin susah nyampe itu ya. Sangat menyedihkan. Saya ngelihat ini pertama kali umurnya masih 2 tahunan. Saya menangis lihatnya, kasihan banget kayak gitu. Dia harus dibantu pakai kaki kalau dia mau ngambil sesuatu. Aduh, sangat menyedihkan. Dan trap di dalam hutan itu bisa puluhan bahkan ratusan Mbak Cici disebar oleh para pemburu
poachers itu ya, pemburu liar ya, pemburu liar.
Oke, next. Ini di Lampung, ini di Waikambas bersama tadi Erin juga di Waikambas dan masih hidup sampai sekarang, alhamdulillah. Next, Ibu.
Halo.
Ya. Ini harimau. Sorry, aku di sini hujan deras aku di Medan kan, jadi kayaknya sinyalku agak jelek. Ini hutan Sumatera, harimau Sumatera. Ini aku ambil di tempat konservasi karena aku agak worry juga kalau ngambilnya di hutan gitu kan. Walaupun kalau gajah sama orang hutan aku masih berani ketemu langsung. Kalau harimau Nah, setelah aku konsultasi dengan kuratorku Bang Oscar Motuloh, dia bilang lebih baik di tempat konservasi atau pasang kamera trap. Ini di tempat konservasi juga. Jadi aku melihat perilakunya, bagaimana dia jika dilepas liar seperti apa gitu, kondisi seperti apa harimau sekarang. Ada di buku sih lengkapnya. Next.
Ini apa nih?
Beberapa kali saya ikut Polhut Bu menangkap jual beli harimau di Sumatera. Dan kalau gajah yang dijual hanya gading, kalau harimau dari kulit, gigi, isi perut, tulang, sampai kumis semua dijual.
Kumis, oh my god.
Dan mereka banyak yang percaya dengan
buat jimat ya.
Ya, betul exactly Mbak. Jadi mereka percaya kalau dikantongin di baju atau di badan itu akan memberikan daya tarik ke lawan jenis gitu loh. Dan itu aku sempat nanya ke Lipi itu hoax. Itu nggak ada, itu cuma mitos gitu kan. Yang lainnya mereka cuma secara prestisius aja dengan pasang karpet
karpetnya.
Karpet kan kulitnya ini. Terus Nah ini juga aku ikut nangkep pemburu harimau. Beberapa kali aku ikut menangkap gitu. Next Ibu.
Nah,
Ya,
ini tumbling.
Iya di
Wow.
Ini badak, ini sangat sulit mendapatkan foto badak karena dia sangat pemalu. Jadi dia jauh, kalau manusia datang dari jauh dia udah tahu dan dia pasti. Makanya salah kalau ada kata kulit badak, muka badak gitu kan. Bahwa ternyata dia sangat pemalu.
Ternyata dia sangat pemalu. Oke.
Iya. Dan kalau kita ke hutan itu Mbak Cici, kita cuma nemu kubangannya aja, nggak susah kali dapat si badaknya ini. Selain dia juga semakin jarang, terus cula, serta dia susah dikawinin gitu kan. Jadi semakin sedikit semakin sedikit jumlahnya.
Mungkin karena saking pemalunya kali ya, jadi sulit ya untuk dijodohin. Oke, ini di Lampung.
Ya, seperti itu ya. Next,
ini
Ibu.
cula 1 ya? Badaknya
ya,
cula
ya.
1?
Ya. Next, Ibu. Ya, saya menggunakan fotografi sebagai fotografi, maksudnya pameran foto dan buku gitu kan, untuk mengajak lah ya, mengajak menyebarkan virus peduli kepada masyarakat gitu. Terutama kaum milenial yang saya bilang tadi gitu kan, untuk ya mencintai, menyayangi alam Indonesia kan. Kalau nggak kenal maka tak sayang itu tadi kan. Makanya saya berusaha ya, hello.
Ya,
yes,
silakan.
I can hear you. Silakan.
Aku pikir putus.
Enggak, kedengaran.
Kita terpesona mendengar ceritanya Mbak Rere.
Iya Mbak Cici, at least I do something lah. Maksudnya aku berusaha, aku nggak punya power atau kekuasaan apalah ya. Jadi setidaknya aku berbuat sesuatu walaupun sedikit gitu kan. Dengan buku ini saya keliling kota-kota di Indonesia. Saya masuk ke kampus-kampus, bikin diskusi-diskusi seperti itu dengan 2 buku ini. Mudah-mudahan akan ada buku-buku berikutnya tentang alam, tentang hutan, tentang laut Indonesia. Kurang lebih seperti itu Mbak Cici dan Bu Amanda. Terima kasih sekali.
Oh, udah habis ya.
Iya. Tadi udah dikurangin di slide-nya.
Mbak Rere, tadi kita dapat informasi bahwa kebanyakan perjalanan untuk mengambil fotografi itu self-funding ya?
Iya. Saya itu kan sebenarnya spontan kan Mbak Cici. Jadi niat dan rencana yang spontan. Jadi ya udah, apa yang bisa saya lakukan, apa yang saya punya. Akhirnya saya menguras seluruh tabungan. Saya jual beberapa kamera. Kebetulan saya fotografer, saya punya beberapa kamera, saya jual beberapa barang di kamar kos gitu. Seperti televisi, player dulu masih player DVD, saya jual
ya.
Iya. Bahkan saya punya kayak emas gitu, saya jual semuanya. Karena kalau terlalu ada beberapa saya, Bu Amanda juga sempat bantu ya Ibu ya, yang pas orang hutan. Terus yang hutan Sumatera ini besar sekali dananya karena areanya lebih luas kan Mbak Cici.
Ya.
Jadi saya menghabiskan lebih banyak yang buku yang kedua itu yang hutan Sumatera. Karena menunggu orang yang mau bantu tuh kadang lama. Saya pikir aduh terlalu lama nanti nggak jadi malah gitu.
Ya
udah saya lakukan apa yang bisa.
Mudah-mudahan hari ini di luar sana kita broadcast ada nanti yang mungkin mau membantu Mbak Rere ya. So a quick recap. Amin. Rere is a photographer, also a journalist, and she wrote 2 books on orangutan and on Sumatra forest. And most of her journey is most of her project and her works were possibly happen because she managed to self-fund all the projects. So hopefully later on we will get more people to help her in continuing her next journey. Yeah, tadi we see that she took pictures of orangutan, rhinoceros, tigers, and also elephant. Oke, Mbak Rere, terima kasih untuk
Thank you, Mbak
presentasinya.
Cici.
Saya habis setengah box tisu tadi gara-gara lihat presentasi Mbak Rere.
Really? Oke, thank you, Mbak Cici.
Ya. Karena saya juga pernah beberapa tahun fostering orang utan di Kalimantan.
Oh, okay.
Let's give a big hand to Mbak Rere using the features. Let's give a clap on your reaction. Thank you, Mbak Rere. So I believe we can move to the second presenters. I would like to invite someone who happened to be on my table during the global training of climate reality projects, the second batch. Gita Farah from Sineria Film Production. Our relationship go far away because Gita's mother is also my friend. So please welcome Gita Farah from Sineria Films Production, who will present local challenges to global audience. Gita, are you with us?
Hi, Mbak Cici. Hi, Bu Amanda. Good evening, everyone.
Yes, go ahead, Gita. I think
Mbak Cici ini aku bahasa Indonesia atau bahasa Inggris ya?
Bahasa Inggris boleh.
Oke, bahasa Indonesia apa bahasa Inggris ya?
Boleh. Bahasa Inggris boleh. Kalau bahasa Indonesia nanti aku translate. Silakan.
Okay, so aku share screen dulu. Oke, bentar Mbak. Okay, so hello everyone. Tonight I'm gonna present a little bit of my experience being a producer for a couple of films that has environmental issues as well as the climate crisis issues. And well, a bit about myself is, kok nggak bisa wait. Mbak Cici bentar nih agak error. Kayaknya nggak bisa aku full screen, nggak apa-apa ya, Mbak?
Ya, oke.
Okay, so I'm a film producer. I work for a couple of films, mostly feature fiction films, and but mostly I always work on the issues of environmental and also at this moment I'm working with a documentary on deforestation as well as the indigenous forests and indigenous communities. And tonight I'm going to share a bit about my experience or a little case studies about these films, and hopefully this could bring more conversation on how we can build communication tools for maintaining the issues of climate crisis. I believe that film is a very powerful tool for change, and that's why what I'm doing as a filmmaker is I always try to reach upon the issues that is I think that is the community needed for concerning on these particular issues, and try to bring change on the community. And I think why film is very powerful is because it brings empathy and the ability to understand and share the films of one and another. And that's what I think that is much needed during this time when conventional campaigning on the climate crisis is has not worked, maybe because like we see that from the first session today that there's not much people, especially the younger generations, talk about these issues, and we need something to try to penetrate these issues to them. This is my first films that I work on the issues of conservation. The title is The Mirror Never Lies, back in 2012. This is a feature film by Camilla Andini, and at that time basically we went to Wakatobi in southeast Sulawesi, and we meet with a couple of people of from the Bajanese tribe, and we learn a lot about them, about the local wisdom about conservation of the oceans, and but how the current conditions is the Bajanese start to do destructive actions towards this ocean for many economic means. And at that time, we think that I think we really want to do a film projects on how actually the but about it, and that's why we try to do this feature films. And there are many local wisdom, like we have to catch the big fish and let the small fish grow in order to keep the sustainability of the fishes in the seas and so on. So with this film, we've screened this film in more than 30 international film festivals. We win numerous awards, and we also have a Japanese distributor to work on the films, and the film has been released in Japan and also in Italy. And what we're trying to do with this film as well is we try to work with other stakeholders who have the same goals and have the same concern regarding the ocean conservations. So at the time, we work with WWF Indonesia and the region of Wakatobi to work together to amplifying the message of ocean conservation, especially in Wakatobi. And we're very happy with this film because we work with all local talents and actors, and we have them came to Berlin. The Bajanese kids came to Berlin during the shooting to have conversation with the audience, as well as the other children audience at that time, to discuss about their home, discuss about the ocean, and so on. And then I continue my journey on the environmental issues film with currently a documentary titled The Flame. This is a story about an indigenous people and indigenous community in Borneo. His name is Iber Jamal. He has witnessed 2 decades of ecological disaster that have destroyed Borneo's forests. And with the time that he has left in his life, he is fighting to obtain a legal title for the remaining customary forest surrounding this home. And what is the ideas and local challenges that we found from this film project is because during 2000 and 2012, Indonesia apparently has cut down 6 million hectares of its rainforest, equivalent to clearing 1,900 football fields each day, an area half the size of England every day. And no other nation is destroying its forest faster. And that's why we are thinking that the story of Pak Iber and how he fights to get his customary forest or hutan adat is very important to be told. And well, the pathway of the project is actually now we're still in the production, and we have pitched the project in international forum such as the Good Pitch Indonesia and Pitching the Real Switzerland, and we received many supports afterwards, both for the film production and as well as to campaign the issues around indigenous people and communities, as well as support for Pak Iber Jamal or our protagonist. And so therefore, I think that I try to do some maps on like as a filmmakers, maybe if you have any. Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
sorry, you have 2 more minutes.
Hilang ya, Mbak?
No, you have 2
Okay.
more minutes. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I try to make some simple maps to how to finding ways of your story. Well, the first one is creating path of the idea of and story from creative process. We could try to find the right path to grow, like how we can bring the stories further. And also the second one is to building ecosystem around the story. We can create our own mapping on the local and international ecosystem around the story, like what we're trying to do with the ocean conservation with other stakeholders. And maybe we can find the possible audience and stakeholders to start to build our ecosystem around it. And also we can try to get support and found collaborators to get out there and find as many support and collaborations on the projects to mainstreaming these issues. And also what's really important, and I think what's the soul of the project is we can contemplate on our strategies and goals, like what is the impact that you wish to create from this story, and what are the strategies, and as well as what is the influence that you wish your audience will have after they watch this film or these projects. And well, I'll end this presentation with a small quotes that I believe that small win matters in this fight on try to communicating about this impact of climate crisis. We can sometimes we see like the facts is very overwhelming that we don't know. We're start to lose hope on what to do. But I think that very small things that we try to do, either to influence a community or any other fights, we have the powerful tools to make ourselves heard. I think it's our responsibility to bring up the stories that needs to be told in helps to amplifying the issues of climate change. Okay, Mbak Cici, I think that's my short presentations on
yes,
the local.
Thank you so much, Gita. I personally have lots of questions for you, but I will save it later. But I would like to invite every one of you who have questions. Now you can write down your questions on our chat features, and we will do that later on our Q&A section. Now, let's move to our next presenters. It's about documenting extreme nature that will be presented by Slam Jam Production. Hello, where are you?
Hello.
Oh, how many of you?
The Slam Jam Bros.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, hello everybody. Thank you. We feel very honored for you to have us sharing information with you tonight. We are the Slam Jam Bros from Slam Jam Productions. 3 brothers, born and raised.
Hi, brothers.
Hello. And, living in Indonesia for the last 11 years. My name is Trevor. This is Kyle, and this is Dustin. So just a little brief thing about us. We've been fortunate enough to have some really exciting adventures around the world, but particularly in very remote locations in Indonesia, and getting to meet the local cultures, people in very remote areas. And at the same time, in doing this travel over land, sea, and air, we've happened to see the changes in our climate and things having to do with plastic pollution and the impact of human behavior. I just really wanted to start saying at first a quote from the philosopher Alan Watts. So to paraphrase, he said, "A grapevine births grapes in the way that planet Earth births humans." So the importance of that I'd like to illustrate is sometimes in our various human societies, we get caught up in the illusion that we are in fact separate from nature. But nature is the planet, and we are on this planet. In the same way that a grapevine births grapes, the earth births us. So let's not forget, and let us not get caught up in the illusion with so many complex human technology and human interaction, human society, that we are in fact part of nature as well. So I just kind of would like to start with that to kind of put us in the right frame mind. Okay, so extreme nature, documenting extreme nature. I think the first thing we'll have to discuss a little bit is about, when we say extreme nature, maybe we think of natural disasters. Because natural disasters is really when the planet shows us its raw power. And in these situations, human society gets a chance to show its vulnerability. We get the chance to experience our fragility, because it's something that occurs that is beyond our control. So as much as we are creatures of control, creatures of terraforming the planet, when these situations happen, we lose control. And this, as we see it, is an opportunity to come together, to be humbled, to remember that we are in fact part of nature. We don't have that much control to begin with. At any time, we can be rocked to the ground, all our skyscrapers and buildings and all of our information highways, they can all be gone in an instant, all of that work. So it's a very humbling time. And as three brothers who like to document humans interacting in their environment, we particularly like to take the side of positivity and shining light on the silver lining in every opportunity that comes. So we were unfortunately present doing a project in Nepal, and we got trapped in the earthquake in Nepal. And we actually had an opportunity to work with all of the major news networks in working with them with supplying them with footage that they would then publish to the world to let them know what was happening on the ground. That was a very interesting experience in ways that the major news networks tell their stories to their respective nations. And then again, we were in Indonesia in 2018 when the devastating earthquake hit Lombok. And this was also a very difficult situation. In North Lombok, 90% of all buildings were completely flattened. And we just out of the ability to help with our contacts that we have in Bali and in Jakarta, we started a little earthquake relief that turned out to be quite a large logistics operation that we never had experience to do disaster management. And this is not film. but it's still engaged in helping and in sharing information. So we were transporting logistics from Jakarta, Bali, through military planes, through trucks, through boats, getting the aid to the people as best as we could. And in doing these, in being able to capture these human moments, and these human moments in nature, I think it's very important that the stories that we tell, we have to try to tell them in the most objective sense, putting ourselves as humans outside of the story, because the story and information is in fact quite more important than us. It's a bigger thing than us. So I think in any type of storytelling or journalism or films, or even the responsibility of content, there's a lot of content online. The particular information like this that is very pertinent, it's important to try to be objective and speak truthfully and kind of stand outside of yourself. Leading into my next, Dustin was going to say about the news networks.
Okay.
We had the experience of working with the major news networks firsthand, and they used our footage to put out on the day after the earthquake. It went global. So that was an experience about communicating information through technology. And now Dustin will have something to say about that.
Yeah, just in the aspect of documenting extreme nature, we're in a great position right now at the time that we're in, that we're able to share so much with the world. There's many different platforms available to everybody right now, like YouTube or Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. And as a filmmaker, or not even a filmmaker, as anybody documenting extreme nature, you're able to share this information very quickly and very effectively. So that's a big thing right now that is very interesting about the way we can document extreme nature. We're able to get it right away from anywhere around the world. Anyone, like anything happens here in Indonesia, they'll know about it right away in the States or in Africa or in Europe. So this is a great time we're in right now for documenting anything or documenting extreme nature, that we have this ability to share it so easily. And also another technological thing that we have are these tools. Everyone or a lot of people now, you have like drones. So we can get this perspective that we weren't, it's very accessible to get this perspective of mountains or rivers or lakes or the ocean. And we could get this view that we weren't really able, it would be very expensive, it would be very difficult to you have to come in with a helicopter, or they're flying over with planes, taking pictures. Now, most everyone or most everywhere, someone has a drone that they're able to take pictures or videos of these different areas and different incidents that happen. And we can see it from, again, a broader picture that we would never be able to see before. Also with this time-lapse photography, there's little cameras that are outdoor and they have a very long battery so they can last forever. And we're able to, because always before was this natural, extreme nature, it's hard to see in the moment. It's something that happens slowly over time. So now, again, we have all these, because of this age we're in, we have all these tools that are available to us, and it makes it a lot easier and more accessible as a filmmaker to show people what's going on around the world. So they can really actually, even 360 cameras now too, people are able to get in there and really experience someone else's perspective from all the way around the world, or anywhere, or beside them, somewhere where they couldn't normally be able to get to.
Sure, correct. Anything you want to add, brother number 3?
Kyle here. Yeah,
Hi,
I just had a short case study for you guys that I would take up on myself to actually firsthand witness if you guys have any experience in Africa and climate change. There's the biggest lake, the biggest desert lake in Africa is called Turkana Lake. This is actually where all of our ancestors are from. It's considered to be the cradle of life, and where anthropology took its last hominoid skull from is Turkana Lake. So I've been visiting there for the past 3 years doing projects in media, and visiting this lake, it is quite astonishing what it's done to its people, and it's created tribal wars, it's created famine, drought. Now that they're experiencing the extremes of these two, drought in the sub-Saharan desert for a nomadic community is devastating. We were there, fortunately, with a support group working with NGOs like UNICEF, the World Food Program. So they were a lot more advantageous than the local communities. So we were able to try to get some footage of them, and there's many various roadblocks to that, whether it be the village I was wiped out, or the contacts that we had were literally killed by the neighboring tribal war. So I read about these headlines before, and I didn't actually believe it, but this largest lake in Africa is slowly shrinking. And it's really its effects that are, it's unbelievable, the stories that I've heard from these things. So that's just my first account as to having some climate crisis going on in Africa, and the place is actually in northeastern Africa, in Kenya.
Northeastern Africa. Okay. Are we fortunate enough tonight to see maybe short clips from you guys?
All right. Yes, yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll just share the screen here.
Okay, we'll share a screen. Yeah. I was fortunate enough, as we load this up, I'll have a chat. Fortunate enough to work with the Conservation International and
can you guys see?
a Journalist Association of Indonesia, documenting a project with Mbak Lia in Papua.
Our very own Mbak Lia. Okay.
Behind the scenes, yes. And one thing I do have to say is, you know, we have all of this technology, which is great. However, on this particular trip, you know, we were fortunate enough to have an encounter with the whale sharks. And out of all of the maybe 30 some odd participants, the journalists, there were maybe 3 or 4 of us that actually had the skills to swim with the sharks and really get a proper encounter in their environment, not on the boat watching them, getting into the water, swimming right beside them, you know, monitoring and observing their marine behavior. So you can have as much technology as you want, but we can't forget that we need to have the human skills. Let's not forget the human skills. Let's not use technology and rely on technology. We have to remember these human skills, you know, some type of also survivalist skills. So that's something that has to be taught in tandem with the use of technology. We can't just use technology. We also have to up our human skill game as well to be able to do these things. And documenting extreme nature is high altitude, it's water, underwater. So that's, now we're ready to load this one up here, Kai.
Cool.
This is,
so it's in Lombok, right?
So we made this concert on the river to attract attention and awareness for the plastic going into the Jangkrik River.
Okay, we can't go watch them all, so we'll continue with a couple more here. This is another plastic education tour. This is called the Indonesian Indo Art Adventure.
just the first portion.
So in that particular trip, we had 7 international artists aboard a boat sailing through Sulawesi, documenting the Liang Liang caves in South Sulawesi. They're dated to be the oldest in the world. Carbon dated to be 40,000 years old, and we had this adventure to learn a little bit more about who made those cave paintings and why. And the artists had to interpret that adventure through creations of art. And along that trip, the intention was a more anthropological type of research, but we couldn't avoid seeing this beautiful island you just saw there, Takabonorate, the 3rd largest atoll, this beautiful place. And as we approached this atoll, it looked stunning, but as soon as we got onto the beach and we sat down in the sand, our shorts were full of tar. And then we started seeing lots of plastic and lighters and flip-flops all over this uninhabited island.
Oh.
So at the beginning of this adventure, we had the idea to capture a film about the caves and who painted these cave paintings, but it was unavoidable that the topic of plastic waste and human behavior and impact on the planet is far-reaching as this atoll with no one lives. That came into the story as well. Those are the cave paintings there. Yeah. And maybe we can just show one more and then we can move on. This is just a documentary film trailer for first contact experience we had with the tribe, the Mairasi tribe in West Papua. There are Indonesian peoples who have yet to make a real contact with the outside world. And this was a very, very life-changing experience for us because right now we would like to describe these people who live in the forest. I like to call them the pure humans. They're not primitive. They are not uneducated. They're very intelligent and complex peoples. And I consider us the modern humans. So the modern humans, this whole conference is about this. We're looking for a solution. How can we live sustainably? How modern humans live sustainably? And these pure humans living in the forest, this is what they do. They live sustainably.
They live sustainably.
Well, they are part of nature. They only take. They live within nature, and these are not animals. These are humans. These are humans like us. So, in experiencing a little bit of their life and understanding the philosophy and the mentality, the ideas, the language, there's no such thing as ownership here. There's no such thing as waste, okay? Because there's no need for the thought of waste because they just use what's around them and they put it back. This is a very simple and a very, very simple concept that we need to learn, the modern humans. We need to deprogram all of this complexity and learn how to do what they're doing, but in our way. And that's more of a mindset than being half naked in the jungle. It's more of a mindset, So don't be, when you see images like this, don't be confused. Just because they're not wearing clothes, they have the answer in the mindset, and we need to learn from these people. So this film is still in production. But our goal with this particular film is to kind of bridge the gap of knowledge, bringing the knowledge out from these tribal societies out into our modern world, so we can get an opportunity to learn a little bit of a different way of life, a different mentality of consumerism and waste.
All right, we learned so much from the three of you. Thank you so much, Slam Jam Brothers. We would like to share more questions probably later on. I've seen so many people already write down their questions, but I would like to give the three of you a very warm heart and thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, don't go away, stay here. We have a few questions for you later on. All right, let's move on to something special, actually. A presentation, or we will have something from the Radford Center. Impact-driven documentaries and campaign. Right?
Shall I start? Or do you do it? Can you do it?
No, Ibu. Wait. All right, we'll have a presentation, and before that, before the short movie that we are going to screen, we will hear a video presentation from Jonathan White, Director of Operation and Fiscal Sponsorship of the Radford Center. Okay, please, Ibu Amanda.
Oh, saya kirain Cici. Okay, all right. Okay, I'll do it. Just a minute. Give me just a minute.
Yeah. Well, okay. The Radford Center is co-founded in 2005 by the one and only Robert Radford and his son James Radford. And the Radford Center uses impact-driven film and media to accelerate environmental and climate justice.
Partnership and operations with the Radford Center. And thank you for joining us today to watch our short film, Happening Minnesota. So the Radford Center was founded in 2005 by Robert Radford and his son, James Radford. And we use storytelling through film and media to build the movement for environmental justice, protection, and repair. We produce, fund, and fiscally sponsor a diverse array of projects featuring individuals, communities, and organizations taking action to protect and restore our planet. In some very sad recent news, our co-founder, James Radford, had just recently passed away. But we at the Radford Center are committed to proudly carrying on his legacy. Our most recent feature film, Happening, A Clean Energy Revolution, looks at the opportunities and challenges of the renewable energy market in the US specifically, and whether or not there's a reason to be hopeful that this might be one of the solutions to man-made climate change. We didn't want to spend too much time on the actual issue of climate change, but look more deeply into why we could or could not transition over to a clean energy economy in the US. Jamie Radford traveled the US to meet with people of all different backgrounds and political persuasions and see if there was a common thread of hope to their stories that we could tell. Happening premiered on HBO almost 3 years ago and has now been watched by more than 2 million people on US TV, screened in all 50 US states, and also aired in more than 45 countries. So for the video you're about to watch today, we followed up a year after the Happening premiere with all 50 state governors to tell us their best state success and achievements stories in clean energy, and that we were going to use that to make a follow-up short movie to Happening. So Minnesota rose to the top of the pile and clearly won this challenge, as having made some very impressive strides in a pretty short period of time. So we sent Jamie back out on the road to Minnesota to capture their story, which you're about to see. And we think it's a great example of what can happen when a place, a state in this case, commits itself fully to a low carbon future, sets aggressive targets, and then shatters them. We've also found that although these stories do focus specifically on the situation on the ground in the US, they've also been very relevant to audiences around the world in other countries as well, with experiences both politically and economically that are very similar to what's happening here. So with that, we hope you enjoy the movie, and thanks for joining us. Bye. Hi, everyone.
Okay, so that was Jonathan White, Director of Operation and Fiscal Sponsorship of the Redford Center. Now let's take a moment and we will see Happening Minnesota.
Okay, I'll share the screen again. And I would like to inform our audience that Jonathan made that video clip just now, especially for this international workshop, on climate crisis. So we really appreciate the Redford Center, who just lost its co-founder, but still spend some time to record that information about the Redford Center. So we will be seeing now Happening Minnesota.
Thank you, Ibu.
I had heard rumors that there are two seasons here. There's winter and road repair. So it's been about a year since I wrapped on Happening, and I've been traveling the country doing screenings with the movie. And it's allowed me to go to a lot of interesting places and in Minnesota. Clearly, they're doing something right. When you think of Minnesota, you don't think of sunshine all that much, right? And yet they're killing it with solar. And they're putting out just massive amounts of wind power. They set a renewable energy standard a decade ago to get to 25% by 2025. They got there 7 years early. Yes, my name is James Redford. I'm with the Redford Center to talk to the governor. And I figured I should take up the chance to talk to the governor and see what he has to say about it. So we're going to hit the mansion. I have done a little bit of a dive into Minnesota's renewable energy landscape, and you guys are rocking. What's going on? Why aren't you guys packing yourself?
Minnesota modesty, I guess. Yeah, we've had cooperation with utilities as well as legislators on both sides of the aisle. 20 years ago, you wouldn't have had been able to mention wind energy without being scorned, but everybody's seen the advantage of it. I mean, wind energy is cheaper than coal-fired, so the economics now are in our favor as well.
And when we're spending about $18 billion every year to bring in fossil fuels, that's when you start looking at the numbers, and really creating a new homegrown energy source makes sense.
Still going to abide by the Paris Accords. We're still going to, keep this commitment. We'll do it on our own initiative. We believe in this, and we know it's the right thing to do, and we're going to do it regardless of the politics in Washington.
The governor has really been a leader in this area, and that
she works for me. She has to say that.
But it's also
So I'm here to talk to a professor at University of Minnesota. There's this kind of, sister city type relationship between small cities in Minnesota and cities in Germany that are all interested in ramping up their clean energy. So let's see what that's about.
And being a good person here means you don't overpromise.
Mm-hmm.
You underpromise, you overperform.
It's the opposite in California.
I don't know, As you can hear, I'm not originally from the United States. I'm an immigrant. I come from Germany. The energy footprint in Germany is 1/5 of the person in Minnesota.
1/5?
Yes, right now, today. 36% of the electricity comes from renewable energy. Welcome, everybody. Some of you know me much better than others, but that is going to change by the end of the week that we spend in Germany. We will know each other so very well by the end of that week. First of all, I'm Sabina Engel.
I'm Paul Anderson, State Senator from Plymouth.
My name is Kevin Papp. I'm a corn and soybean farmer.
The rural areas, they are profiting tremendously from this transition.
people in Minnesota, they were inspired. We want something like that. How do we make that happen? We have a fabulous group of 5 cities, and they are very different communities. The city of Warren, this 1,500 people ag community, they did a drone program to survey their entire community and to find out, where are the leaks? Where is the heat escaping? Let's make this available to the community, because people really would like to know. It's a conservative community, but it doesn't matter what party you vote for. Energy costs money, and if I can use that money for something else instead of energy, that would be good. 5 cities are on their way to demonstrate that any community, any size, can move on this path along to being more sustainable.
I'm Larry Herkey, and I'm the director of the Office of Enterprise Sustainability for the state of Minnesota.
Hey,
Jamie.
Yes, Larry.
Welcome to Minnesota.
So how did you end up getting involved in sustainability, particularly energy efficiency and clean energy usage?
Well, it came down to paying electric bills. I was short about $1 million each year for my electric bills, and I had to find a way to be able to balance the books without having to go back to Washington, D.C. every year by implementing some fairly low cost initiatives. Usually you can get about a 30% reduction in energy costs within a facility.
And you didn't have to go to DC and beg.
I didn't.
That's
yes,
awesome.
It was very good. Hi, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Larry Herkey. I'm here in Camp Adder, Iraq.
Were there any aspects of your military service that made sustainability and renewable energy more meaningful to you?
We were responsible in 2005 through 2007 for moving food and fuel throughout Iraq. I had a person in front of me, a driver actually died, but we had many soldiers that died too, also defending those convoys. So it seemed to me somewhat senseless. Here we are producing this energy somewhere else, and we should try to make energy as close as we can to where we consume it. And I think that's probably the direction that we should go going forward.
I've heard that there's a group over at a Pentecostal church in North Minneapolis that's doing something really interesting. So I'm gonna see what's shaking there. You've got some interesting things going on with renewable energy, don't you?
We do. We've had our share of tragedies with deaths, funerals, drive-by shootings, but this phenomenon has been taken a different twist for our ministry to be a part of a community celebration and to provide something of hope for the future by using God's power in order to bring light bills and gas bills down to a bare minimum.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
You can get the same savings from solar power without it being on your roof. So we have people sign up and subscribe. A lot of what's going on with utilities in general is that it has been a monopoly. And we haven't been given a choice in how our energy is produced and or used.
Yeah, this is a 180 kilowatt system, 630 panels. That does require for you to sweat and be able to endure physically as a result of being able to move 73-pound panels. At the end of the day, you'll probably get 10% body muscle and about 10% body fat burnt. So
in other words, you're not worried about working out at all.
You don't need LA Fitness. It's been a win-win for the community, win-win for solar. It's been an awesome thing.
We're just at a starting point, putting jobs and the money back in our local economy in our state, and giving the solar energy benefits to everybody.
You know, I go around the country, and the thing you hear from advocates and people are clamoring for renewable energy is they say it's going to take everybody. So you know what my takeaway about Minnesota is? That everybody's in.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we was just see some screening of Happening Minnesota presented by the Redford Center that especially screen for this particular event tonight. All right, so the movie Happening Minnesota that we've just seen just now is actually the last part of the presentation for today, session 4. But I think we still have some time for Q&A. I also already seen some questions here from the chat features in Zoom. I would like to ask the first questions to Mbak Gita. Somewhere here mentioned that asked you a question, how do we actually can, maybe you have a tips, how do we actually get support to do, to do a documentary or movie project? Gita?
Hi, Mbak Cici. Okay, so I'm gonna answer directly to the questions. As for we in Indonesia, like the documentary filmmakers in Indonesia, this past 3 years, we already have a platform called Docs by the Sea. It's like an event, like an incubator event on projects, documentary projects in development. So in that event, you can apply in that event. It happens every year, and in that event, they will invite some of like international stakeholders, funders, and also film grants and so on to hear you present about your projects and also do matchmaking with the filmmakers and also the stakeholders. And I think that's one of the events that we can go to, and as well as luckily Indonesia is also still considered a developed country, so we still eligible for some of film fundings available internationally. So that in that case we can try to also apply to all the film fundings available. Well, that's actually what I always try to do is actually found the film fundings that is available to Indonesian filmmakers and try to apply it. And sometimes it brings you also to further networks of and collaborations from that events.
Okay, I hope that answered the question. Thank you, Gita. The second question is actually addressed to the expert team, but I think I'm going to throw the questions to Mas Kang Farhan. The question is, how do you think developing countries, particularly those in East Africa, can learn from Indonesia to addressing climate change impacts and resilience? Kang Helmi,
Thank
are
you.
you still with us?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mohammed, for your questions. I think, in my view, as many other experts as well, that the cities is very important at this moment, dealing with many crisis issues, unemployment, what you call health, and so on and so forth. So my answer is that let's plans to have a series dialogue on these issues, perhaps through the Asia Africa conference meeting next year in April 2021. But perhaps before that we can organize a meeting. And also I would like also to ask the Indonesian Mayor Association, APEXI, as well as the ICLEI Indonesia to join the initiative. So with that, perhaps we can develop the kind of the knowledge and expertise exchange. And my understanding is that there's also initiatives of South cooperation, and perhaps also this is another channel. And I think the what you are asking me is really relevant at this moment. And I think in most of the countries is now transforming the countries into the more than 60% of urban areas. I think that's the answer from my side, Mbak Cici.
While you're still here, I have one more question. It was asked through YouTube. The question is from Tria Padmadisastra. I would like to ask Pak Farhan Helmi about the tools that could archive the conversation on climate crisis. Does it resemble NVivo or Atlas T for things like that?
Sorry, I didn't get it. But Cici, can you repeat again? Sorry,
Yes.
I missed the.
Yeah, the question is about the tools that could archive the conversation on climate crisis.
Yeah.
Does it
I think
resemble Vivo or Atlas? Or
I think my understanding, the tools we develop is actually try to open as much as possible for the public to engage in the process. And there's, as I mentioned, there's two at this moment. One is through the modeling exercise and the capacity building by using the MIT open source software. The second is that if you can also just simply subscribe to the eFactory, this is very, this is open source and then free, and then you can get access to that, the platform. And you can also start connecting with the modeler as well as the data provider. So we will organize a series of dialogue, not only local but in ASEAN and Timor-Leste partners. And the third, of course, in the archiving, I have been talking to some colleague who is really interested into, say, documenting all the very related to manuscript and so on. And we are really work closely with some group, especially from Leiden University, who is now working on these areas. And this third initiative, I will be work closely with the PhilLab Laboratory for Social Innovations and Movement, to just simply documenting all this, the knowledge that we have to this moment. That's Mbak Titi. Of course, for the Indonesian colleague, we will be organizing within the 2 weeks with the Indonesian Forum for Environment, and second with the Ministry of Science and Technology and Indonesia Society for Remote Sensing. This is a 2 separate target, but with the same approach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. I have another question. This probably Ibu Amanda probably can help answer the questions. The question is from Yesi Mariam. She's mentioning about it is true that the 2 presenters that presents a picture or a video or a photo can tell 1,000 words. Is there some kind of platform for sharing photos and video about climate change or anything related to challenges of nature in Indonesia?
Thank you for the question. If it's web-based, we don't have it yet. Perhaps we can, do it later on. But we did some short movies with Gita's assistance. We did maybe like 7 short movies on climate change, and it's available on YouTube. And we also did some photography competition with Regina's mentor, Oscar Motulo, and it's also documented in a book. But I see your point, Yesi. It would be good if we could have a platform for that. And I understand that there are several. I think one is based in the UK and also in the US. You can also see from organizations such as NASA, where they have documentaries about climate change around the world. So there are several resources as well, but I agree with you that we need to have a platform for Indonesian situation.
Yes, thank you, Ibu Manda. We have a very interesting comments from Soraya about, she said something that I think it's important for Southeast Asia to learn from East African policies on environmental issues in Kenya. Thank you so much for your input. I think we kind of like running out of time, but the Slam Jam brothers, are you still here? Maybe one quick question for you if you're still here. No.
They're still here, but they're muted.
Hello, Slam Jam brothers.
Yeah, they're muted. Well,
okay. Well, maybe some other time. All right. I think it's a wrap. Probably I will hand the mic to the MC to maybe MC have some information for tomorrow's event before we call it a day. Thank you so much. Back to you, Arifa. I'm Cici Budiman signing off after this. Thank you so much for our time tonight. Selamat bermalam minggu. Salam sehat. Have a great day and have a great weekend. Back to you, Arifa.
Thank you, Mbak Cici. Thank you very much for all the great speakers tonight. And the discussion is very insightful, and of course, thank you for our lovely moderator, Mbak Cici.
Oh yeah, don't forget to take picture.
Okay. Anyone there to take picture? Let's have it before I end this everything.
You want me to take the pictures again?
Dino, are you there? Would you?
Yes, Marifa.
Oh, the Slam Jam brothers is here. But you're muted.
Are you still going to ask them question?
Yeah. Quick question. Yeah,
if you guys are okay,
quick, very quick questions. You are doing a lot of documentary on extreme nature. What is maybe you can give us some tips for the beginners who wants to do a documentary. How do you actually connect it or networking with the maybe TV or other channels so that you can use the documentary to educate people about climate crisis?
Yeah, well, I think the most available medium right now is like YouTube, right?
Okay.
This is the best way, I think, to get your message out. Actually, well, if you combine it with all the social media platforms, like Instagram is really for like a shorter format, And then from your Instagram, you could drive people to YouTube. So I think this is really the best medium right now to get your message out to a wider audience. Yeah, if you want to go to it's difficult to go to big networks if you don't have a connection. It's still it's very far with these big networks. They still have a very old mentality of it's not too much about sharing. It's about keeping everything to themselves. So it's hard to go if you don't already have a strong.
So basically, we can start from social media.
Yeah, right? This is the best way right now.
Social media is the most accessible. Everyone has their own phone and they're filming something.
Yeah.
So
all right.
It's no longer needed to have the huge crew and networks that were existing before.
Sure. Thank you so much. Now back to Arifa. Sorry.
We cannot miss this.
Yeah.
Okay, Dino, let's have a picture. Mr.
Take a picture.
Picture director. Dino, where are you? Dino. Okay.
Dino missing. Okay. We do the Korean way.
Okay. Mr. Director, what will we do?
Ini siapa yang ngambil gambarnya nih?
Dino.
Okay, let's take picture.
Okay.
The style will be like Slam Jam production. So please everybody turn on the camera.
Here we go.
This is the Korean style.
Korean style.
Please turn on the camera, please, everybody. Still waiting. Yet. Okay. First screen. Second screen.
I'm going to do the Indonesian way.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mbak Rifa. Mbak Cici udah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Once again, thank you for all the interesting speakers and the discussion. It's very insightful. Thank you, Mbak Cici, for the lovely moderating as always.
My pleasure.
And I would like to share my screen for today. For tomorrow, we still have one more day. Can you get my screen?
I don't see it yet.
Yeah,
hold on.
Yeah. There it is. Can you do it full screen?
I'm trying. Wait. It was already full screen. Okay. Do you get my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
We will have two sessions, the session 5 and session 6. In session 5, we will talk about storytelling with the speakers from 350.org, ITB, and many more. And then in sharing session, we'll have a speaker from all over the globe. Climate Reality India, Climate Reality Europe, Japan, and Indonesia. I think this is interesting. And of course, our great moderator, Kang Farhan, for tomorrow. And we will send you the link through email if you have already registered, and you still be able to share the event to your network, so we can have a joyful Sunday tomorrow. I think enough for the next event. I hope all of you will continue today. This is Malam Minggu, right? Saturday night. Have a great time.
Hopefully not with fever. Just Saturday night, not Saturday night fever. No fever. Dangerous if you have fever.
Okay, so we hope to see you again tomorrow at the same time as today, 18:30 Indonesia time, 3:30 PST, 12:30 CET, 17 EST, and 20:30 GST. Once again, thank you very much and wish you have a good morning, a good afternoon, and a good night. Me, Arifah Handayani, bid you goodbye for now. See you again tomorrow. Have a good